When some lunatics send cockroaches to Mars as part of an experiment, they unknowingly sow the seeds of humanity's worst nightmare. Over the next 500 years, the cockroaches evolve into these intelligent, insanely jack-killing machines. And when humans finally land on Mars to colonize it, completely unaware of what's waiting, they walk straight into a massacre. Most are slaughtered by these monsters, and the few who manage to escape unknowingly bring back a deadly virus carried by the roaches, one that starts killing people on Earth. With time running out, NASA does what it always does best: throw science at the problem. Only this time, they send genetically modified soldiers and retrieve a cure. In the year 2619, in an underground fighting tournament in Bangkok, the announcer declares the final round, stating that Earth's strongest man will be crowned tonight. There are a bunch of filthy rich people in the audience, along with two undercover agents waiting. The announcer introduces the first candidate, Hisaemaru Akari, a Japanese karate master. A flashback shows Akari's teenage memories sitting alone when an orphan girl named Yuro offers him rice balls. She is Akari's childhood friend and his one true love. The announcer states that Yuro suffers from a terrible disease and needs an immediate organ transplant, and that is why Akari is here to win the prize money for her. Akari becomes pissed because he didn't want the announcer to bring up his sad backstory, but in any case, he gets ready to face his opponent, a black bear. Akari is shocked, not expecting a beast as his opponent, and almost gets eaten by the bear instantly. He realizes that these people never intended for him to win, but the face of Yuro, his lover, pumps him up. He gets on top of the cage, bluffing that he is going to win despite the odds, and fearlessly jumps on the back of the bear, choking its neck as hard as he can. But the bear manages to throw him away using brute force, and before he can get back on his feet, it attacks him with its claws. Akari's eyes fill with tears as he watches himself being eaten alive by the bear. In his last moments, he recalls the day he met Yuro recently. She lashed out at him, not wanting his pity during her last days, and told him to leave her alone, calling him a monster for some reason. Currently, the two undercover agents wonder if Akari is really the guy they are looking for. According to their research, Akari has some strange powers, and that is why they're here, to confirm if it's true. Akari sees another memory when he met Yuro again, promising her that he's found a donor for her, and she becomes glad, sharing her dreams of exploring the world and doing things she never could. They both hope it would become true, and Akari, although wasn't able to Yuro at that time, expresses now how much he loves her and wants her to live. He cannot let himself die, and with that determination, a power surges through his body and he gets up looking like a demon, stabbing the bear in the eye before slamming it down on the ground. But he doesn't stop there and crushes it with his feet, defeating the beast and shocking the audience. After winning the tournament, Akari directly confronts the tournament organizer, who reveals that he was so certain Akari was going to lose that he already sold his pretty little girlfriend. Akari demands to know who she was sold to, and the organizer points behind him, revealing Shokichi and Michelle, the two undercover agents from before. Akari demands Shokichi return Yuo to him, but Shokichi shockingly reveals that Yuro is already dead. Akari is unable to believe what he's hearing. He lashes out, kicking Shokichi in the face with all his power, but is unable to make him move a muscle, indicating Shokichi is monstrously strong. Michelle tells Akari to calm down, saying they are on his side, and the only reason they bought Yuro from the organizers was to save her, but it was already too late. Shokichi hugs Akari, understanding his pain, and tells him not to lose hope because although they couldn't save Yuro, they can save other children with the same disease as her. Introducing himself as the commanding officer of the US NASA Mars exploration team and Michelle as the second in command, Shokichi reveals that Yuroa was infected with a virus from outer space that killed her. If this virus spreads, it will take lives of millions of people. And to prevent that, NASA plans on sending worthy warriors like Shokichi and his team to Mars. And Shokichi wants to recruit Akari because he is strong enough to face the unknown danger residing on that planet. Akari goes with them, but keeps mourning for Yuro, to which Shokichi joins in by crying along with him. Later, Akari wakes up at NASA's headquarters and learns from Michelle that he's been asleep for the past week. Michelle also reveals that they made Ari undergo surgery to make his body strong enough to survive in Mars' atmosphere. Because of Akari's genetics, they were already certain the surgery would succeed, even though there's only a 36% survival rate, and that is why they recruited him. Meanwhile, Shokichi is having a conversation with a group of people who are about to undergo the same surgery, when Adolf, an executive staff member of NASA from the German division, arrives with a girl named Eva, also wants the surgery. The group greets Adolf and tries to make themselves known, but since statistically half of them are bound to die, Adolf ignores them completely and walks away. Michelle helps Akari get up from his bed when he can't help but stare at her golden globes, prompting her to warn him that if he tries that again during training or on the mission, she will make him pay. Regardless, she brings Ari downstairs Myers and Marcos from the group about to take the surgery approaches him asking about his experience. As Akari states, he only had a higher rate of survival because of his genetics. The guys mock him, thinking he's trying to brag or act superior. Akari doesn't like their attitude, but he controls himself, knowing boys are being boys here. Meanwhile, Sheila tells Eva to ignore the boys, saying that Marcos and Alex have been like this since childhood. Eva becomes envious after hearing Sheila is already acquainted with the boys since she feels alone. And Sheila comforts her, holding her hand and telling her that she's not alone anymore as they are all in this together. Soon after, Michelle gathers the group just before their surgery along with Ari to debrief them about their mission. The alien engine virus, known as the AE virus, came from Mars, and if infected, there's a 0% chance of survival. Their mission is to head to Mars, figure out how to defeat the virus by scouring through everything and bring back samples. However, there's one major problem, which is why NASA is recruiting strong people like Ari. Apparently, every time NASA has sent a team to Mars, none of them have ever returned because of a certain type of organism called the terraformer, an evolved form of cockroach that's been living on Mars for the last 500 years. Michelle clarifies again, telling the group that they will be going to war against these terraformers to save humanity from extinction. Another meeting is held where the host tells the executives of the Mars exploration team about the EE virus. Because of how dangerous it is, the virus hasn't been made public. Although it first appeared 42 years ago, the cases have increased dramatically in the last 20 years. And one of the members in the meeting, named Rusky, puts the blame on Shokichi. Michelle doesn't allow him to say anything further. So, the meeting host continues stating that since they aren't able to cultivate the virus here on Earth, they haven't been able to create a vaccine yet, and that is why they need to obtain samples from Mars, the virus's source area. Weeks later, Shoki, as the captain of the Mars exploration team, leaves for Mars and exits Earth's atmosphere aboard the Annex-1 spaceship, estimating 39 days before arrival. It's revealed that every single one of the recruited members is alive after the surgery, and they are currently walking around the spaceship together. Sheila suggests that they just go berserk and explore the entire ship, and the boys, loving the idea, start running around like crazy. The 5 of them are not the only ones on the mission, as there are many more people on this journey to Mars. Sheila and Eva are having a conversation when Eva mentions she noticed Sheila looking at Shoki funnily. Sheila brushes it off initially, but then reveals that she fell for him the day before her surgery. She got depressed and skipped training, and it was Shoki who came to her not to motivate her, but to cry with her, showing how compassionate he is. Since then, Sheila can't stop thinking about him. However, she can't just tell him about her feelings for obvious reasons. In any case, Sheila changes the topic Eva to come explore the showers with her. But as they enter, they see a lady changing and become mesmerized by her looks. The lady also seems to know about Sheila's situation and advises her to confess before leaving the room. A few weeks pass, and the boys are now comfortable enough that they're spending time playing around the spaceship. Alex is playing catch with Akari, and he also seems pretty powerful and is good at pitching the ball. They're just minding their business when suddenly a blonde guy named Ivan comes in, grabbing Alex's collar and looking super pissed. Apparently, Alex has been spreading rumors about him, saying that Ivan's parents sold him and his brother for gas money because his mom couldn't sell herself. Not only that, Alex also mocked Ivan's brother, who died during the surgery. That's why Ivan wants to make him pay. Alex hits him first with lightning speed, knocking him out instantly, as Ivan's friend is about to jump in. Adolf steps in, strictly telling both parties to save their anger for Mars, stating that most of them are going to die during the mission. Later, Sheila tends to Ivan's wounds, and he immediately falls in love with her, making it so obvious that the others just laugh at him. Akari jokingly tells Ivan not to get his hopes too high, revealing in front of everyone that Sheila's in love with their captain Shokichi. Realizing he just exposed Sheila, he apologizes to her and asks everyone to keep it a secret. Alex comes to comfort Ivan, and this simple gesture gets them off the edge, and they become friends. More time passes, and with only hours remaining before the crew lands on Mars, the scene shifts to Earth, specifically to a bar in Japan where the deputy commander of NASA's Annex mission, who's also a major in the Japanese Air Defense Force, Hiromashis, meets with a man named Professor Honda. Honda has been hiding away, living peacefully as a bartender. Shishis confronts Honda about his involvement in the bug project of NASA as an engineer years ago and how he tried to rebel against his own team, which ultimately failed. He also reveals that Honda used Shi's older brother Ichiro, but instead of seeking revenge, Shiri has come here to give Honda a second chance, asking for his help and intel regarding the Annex mission and the bug project. Back on the spaceship, Alex is playing catch with Sheila when Captain Shokichi speaks through the intercom, informing everyone that they are about to enter Mars' atmosphere and will soon begin their descent with the mission starting. starting. In under an hour, everyone is terrified, not knowing how strong or terrifying their enemy is going to be. Just a few days ago, Eva had sought counseling from Adolf, who helped her cope with her fear, assuring her she'd be all right since they've all been trained to defeat the terraformers. So even if everyone is scared, they can still endure it together. But deep down, Eva is still scared to death, hoping they never even make it to Mars. Suddenly, Area D and Area S go completely dark on the cameras, so Shokichi asks Michelle to go check what happened. Akari and Marcos are just outside the restroom of Area S when they overhear someone taking a shower and wonder who it is. Akari gets allured by the scent coming from inside, and after Marcos tells him that it's probably a Chinese woman he saw enter there an hour ago, Akari tries to peek through the ventilation, but to his shock he finds her staring directly at him with a cold, motionless death stare. Just then a terraformer steps into view, revealing that it has already taken the woman's life, and its next target is Shoki. Going back to Earth for a brief moment, Honda explains to Shiz that the terraformers are able to infiltrate any structure, which kind of explains how one got inside the spaceship even before it landed on Mars. The terraformer attacks Ari with a baton, and Ari barely dodges it. Facing this evolved cockroach, Ari feels like he's the actual insect in front of this brood, but he doesn't try to run. Instead, he decides to stay and buy Marcos enough time to run to the storehouse where the drug is stored. But just then, Michelle arrives and tells Akari to run away too. Akari refuses, stating that he must fight alongside her because only he and Michelle are strong enough to face this monster. He explains that the surgery everyone went through has given them some special abilities, but to activate those abilities a special drug is required, which no one on this ship has right now, and because without that drug only Ari is strong enough to fight, he wants to stay behind. But that's exactly why Michelle wants Akari to go after Marcos, suspecting there might be more terraformers on the ship. She's right, because in another area one of the terraformers is already rampaging, crushing people like insects. Playing the ultimate Uno reverse, some of the crew courageously stay behind to sacrifice themselves, buying time for the others to reach the storehouse and retrieve the drug. Akari also heads toward the storehouse, recalling the instructions Shokichi gave during a previous meeting. Shoki had explained that the drug enhances their physical strength and brings out the abilities they've received through surgery, but it also puts an extreme amount of stress on the body. Regardless, they need it if they want to survive the massacre that's now unfolding. Akari and Marcos finally reach the storehouse, but to their shock, too, terraformers are already inside, ransacking everything and destroying the entire drug supply. Akari is shocked even more so when he realizes that the two terraformers are completely ignoring them, focused only on destroying the drugs. Could they be intelligent enough to understand that without these drugs the humans pose no threat? A similar ambush occurred years ago during the Bugs project, and one can only suspect that the same group of terraformers is now terrorizing them again. One of them slaughters everyone in the hallway